people about the show we're having every Thursday with my friend Obed Saji, qui est ensemble avec nous. Is with us right now, and he's an expert in financial. Today, we're going to talk about access with capital. Access capital is very important. And the way I describe access capital is like a blood. If the body doesn't have a blood, the body die. If there's no money going in the business die. Therefore, Obed is going to talk about a lot of things about access capital. And one of the biggest problems we have in the community is understanding what is cash flow. Today, we bring an expert that have over 20 years experience in the banking. He will tell us what is cash flow. Obed, good afternoon. Obed, thank you so much for coming. Bonsoir, Obed. Bonjour, Obed.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me again on our little segment that we have at least every other week now.
Yeah, every other week.
So I appreciate you inviting me again to talk about a very important topic.
Yes.
Because you hear that everybody talks about cash flow, but no one really understand what that is and the importance of it when you're running a business. So we can talk more specifically, but think about this. I always, when I have relationships, because I've managed over maybe 500 relationships, business relationships at different financial institutions. And one of the key things that always come up is the business needing access to capital, which means money to continue to grow and run their business. But the challenge is not just that, is how do they prepare, how do they put themselves in position to get the funding that they need to continue to grow? Because as you know, Eve, if you cannot invest money, you cannot grow.
Explain to me, what do you mean by invested money? Because the viewers need to understand that.
Well, I try to make it very simple because when you talk about cash flow, right? Sometimes people can say, well, having a credit card is a way to have some cash flow, meaning that if you have an emergency, you have a place to get some money to do what you need to do and then maybe pay these people later. You're borrowing money short term and then so you can pay, right?
Okay.
So that means you have a flow. You're running out of money, but that line of credit, which is that credit card, allows you to do what you need to do today and pay it later, right? In business, it's the same thing. So if you have a business, you're not able to inject money into it, like investment. It's going to be very hard for you to continue to grow because the money you're making from selling whatever you're selling, the operation, is not enough to continue to do the expansion that you need to do.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Oh, yes.
So, for example, I'll give an example. Let's say you're running a pizza shop, for example, right? You buy dough, you buy whatever, you make pizza, you sell pizza. You make a little money on the pizza, right? That little money, yes, it's good for your pocket, help you out, but you're never going to have enough to say, okay, you know what? If I want to grow the business, right? How am I going to expend to make it bigger? I might have to buy a place so that way I don't pay rent anymore. I may have to open another store. But the money you're making from that first store is not enough to do that. So you're going to have to do what they call an investment.
Okay.
Meaning that investment is either go ask your friends, your family, your friends for money, or ou bien, you go to a bank or whatever, say, you know what, lend me some money to buy my new place or to fund my expansion, because now they're making an investment in you, you make an investment in yourself, so you can continue to grow. And the topic of the show, you talk about access to capital. That's what it means.
Okay.
How do you access funds to continue to grow your business?
You said something that's very powerful when you said you can ask friends, family, or you can go to the bank, borrow money. In the Caribbean culture, in the Haitian culture, one of the problem I see in the Haitian culture, what they do right now is they have the money, they go out there, invest the money in their business. After everything dry, no money left, that's why they go back to the bank.
Well,
I see that a lot, Obed. Nta mo expliquer ça. Ouais, pas dire en anglais, Obed. Nta mo expliquer pour quelle raison ces façons ça yo fait business ça. Why? What advice you could give it to them also too, Obed?
well, you know, that's a very good. I mean, you have to be cautious because you have to understand culturally,
Okay.
we're not really big on borrowing money,
Oh yeah. Mama, I
right?
like that. I like
because
that. Obed.
I don't want you to crucify, you know, because
The culture.
the culture, because it's a cultural thing. Haitian people, Caribbean, but they don't like to owe people money. We had this since we were kids. I know growing up, the biggest thing somebody could tell somebody, the biggest flex is, I owe nobody no money. I never go and ask to borrow any money from anybody. That was, in my household, that was raising my grandma. That was the thing for her.
Yes.
I never have to go ask anybody to borrow. That's a big flex. So culturally, this is what it is. And in fact, I'm going to get to your question. In fact, there's a St. Lucian lady. She's from St. Lucia. She's Jamaican St. Lucian, right?
Yes.
She runs a juice bar. And, you know, I went there. I'm trying to support, you know. And, you know, I said, you know, how did you, you know, get the store going? She's like, listen, all this is my money.
Proud.
Very proudly, she says,
my
you know,
money.
I didn't have to borrow no money to do this, and I don't need to borrow no money to continue. Very proudly. And, you know, I chuckle because as a banker, you know, I have a different understanding. And going back to the culture, so you can't really, however, living in this economic environment in the US is something completely different.
Hey. Okay. That's good.
So even the American system runs on credit and leveraging, meaning borrowing money, because even the country itself,
It's in credit.
it's in credit because we have how many trillion dollars in debt, right?
Yes.
Because that's the system. So given that we're living in this system, we may have to shift our mindset from our cultural background and kind of get into the American system to, if we want to be successful.
Okay.
So
I like that.
I don't know
wanna- if you want to become successful,
if
I
you
like
want to
that.
become, so you may have to challenge yourself to say, okay, you know what, my conviction, my cultural thing, tell me I don't want to borrow money. However, if you want to continue to grow and be successful in this environment,
Yes.
you will need to borrow money because otherwise you wouldn't borrow money to buy a house,
That's true. You got a point.
right? Because when I tell people that's it,
Especially the house I have behind my back, right?
right?
It looks
So
nice.
you have a beautiful house, right?
Yes, yes.
And when I tell people, I said, well, I understand you don't like to borrow money. You don't like to do that. Nobody likes to borrow and owe people money. And when I used to say, well, why did you borrow money to buy this house? Well, I need the house for my family. I'm like, yeah, you made an investment for your family because you know this investment will pay off because otherwise you wouldn't buy a house and get a mortgage for 30 years to do it. So when I put it in that perspective, like, oh, I do borrow money, but only, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I see.
but when it comes to their business, they don't think of it the same
that.
way.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I said, you know, people, it's a cultural thing, but you have to make them understand the value, the benefit, you know. Now, if somebody comes and say, well, I want to borrow money to go gamble money in Vegas or somewhere else, I'm like, well, that's not a wise investment.
Okay, I see.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Now,
That makes
hopefully, I kind of,
No,
in a long way, kind of answer the question, and, you know,
Yeah, because
why the challenge?
yeah, it's a lot of challenge in our culture right now because, like you said, you didn't raise like that. Like you said, when you grew up with your grandma, you know, I grew up with my grandma too. One of the thing, borrow money from people, it's not a good thing. It's just to them,
It's a travesty.
Yes, that's
It's
the
the last thing they want to do.
Nobody want to know my business. But in America, it's different. If you want to move forward in the business, it's better to get access with capital, have something sitting there to help you in
Yeah,
case of
I mean,
emergency.
everything we do, we have to somewhat leverage because no one has a boatload of cash in their home to be able to buy a house, buy a car, the necessities that we need, you know, to if you do, hey, God bless you, you know.
Oh, but let's talk about the people who has money. They always borrow more. I remember I was listening to a gentleman, and he was saying, "I want to borrow $250,000. I have the money, but I choose not to go invest my $250,000 because I need something to buy. I rather get the line. I rather get the money instead of go invest that money. Why that mindset? Successful people always have that.
Yeah, well, if you're asking questions that I advise I get paid to advise my clients on why. You're asking me now to give all my secrets on
They can call
your show.
Yeah, they can call Saget Association
You
because what happened is Saget can help you because that's why I bring you an expert. At least you can sit a little bit. You get me, and they can call you.
But that's those are high level stuff.
Okay, I got you.
Like a lot of the astute clients. And like I told you, I've managed over almost 500 clients at different banks combined. The astute, the smart clients, they'll never leverage their own capital for investment purposes.
Wow.
Because what they do is the cash that they already accumulated, that they've gained, they put that into them. They invest it for future use. For example, a client will make $100,000. Okay, that's their money that they made by running their operation. What they will do is that $100,000, they'll put it in a mutual fund, savings account, whatever, so it can continue to grow in an investment, retirement, whatever it is, for themselves. But for the business operations, they want to leverage that.
Okay.
For a lot of different reasons, which there are a lot of benefits, to do that financially, and we can get into it. Like I advise my client from a financial perspective, accounting perspective. There are reasons why you don't want to use your own money, and you want to leverage someone else's to continue to run your business. And those are from a particular business. It's not good for everybody, but for different people, it means different things. So that's why I don't want to get into too much details.
If someone want to hire you right now, they have a business, start a business. Could they be able to hire Saget Association?
Yeah, I mean, I have currently I do CFO work for 5 different companies.
Explain to them what does a CFO mean, because a lot of people may not understand what does that mean, and small business to understand about the cash flow, access for capital, because big company, they have a CFO, and I know small business too can have it.
Yeah.
And all that. Can you dive to it?
Yeah, so I mean, for those companies, I'm not their employee, I'm a contractor.
Okay,
so I serve as a contracting CFO.
Good.
So meaning that some of them I manage their books, some of them I verify and making sure that their books are correct.
Okay.
I advise on the operations.
Good.
I interpret the numbers for them. I give them strategic game plan to run the business.
You're doing a lot, man.
It's a whole lot. And then also, I put in place, like if they do need to raise capital for their business, I run point on that. I not only position in articulating the need. So I leverage my partners, and Lake Capital is one of my partners.
Yes.
I have other partners that I can leverage. So I put the framework together for them.
Okay.
And that's a lot of work. So some people may say, but it's quite a bit of, and they contract me to do that for them.
A lot of business that does that is very, very successful. And when they have a CFO, because imagine that you're a CEO of your business, you don't have time to think about certain things. This is where the CFO can think for you, can put a system for you to implement.
Yeah, well, one of the things, and I had a conversation with one of your employees while we were talking in the green room, and one of the things we talk about is the difference between a client who's doing, because I had a client I was telling Ricardo actually, and I said to him, I have a client that I manage at Bank of America. the client, every time I see them every year, because we have meetings,
Yes.
and every time I go see the client, she's like, I want to crack that $1 million. She's always 850,000, 920,000, but she can never get to that 1 million in sales. And she's always like, she's always like, you could tell that's a sore point of her. And one day I said to her, I said, what do you think the challenge is why you're not able to eclipse to that 1 million that you want? Mm-hmm. She's like, I don't know. I keep trying. And so I said, well, do you think maybe changing strategy? Because right now you do everything, right?
You're right. I agree.
She handles everything. So there's no other capacity to grow because she does everything. She does the accounting, she does the payroll, she does everything internally. Like she's holding on to it. Therefore, she's not selling. So the same clients she has, it's the same clients that she's not getting any new client. And I remember there was another client that I have. He started with 700. And in 4 years, he got to 6 million.
Wow.
And you know what he did to get to that 6 million? He went and hired me as his contracting CFO. Mm-hmm. He hired an operational manager. Mm-hmm. He hired a estimator. Mm-hmm. He hired 4 key people so he can grow the business. So delegation,
It's number one.
Number one. That's what a lot of small businesses can't, they cap because they're not able to, especially the small business owner, to delegate, expertise to other people in order to grow.
I agree with you because I remember I always bring you to do training for my staff. I really appreciate it. And one of the things I learned always, you always say that you have to delegate, Eve. You can't keep everything to yourself. When you do that, you crumple the business. And as a small business owner, I did not understand that. I was thinking about it because I was acting like a self-employed in the business.
Yes.
As a self-employee, it's me everything. And the mindset changed over 15 years when you taught me that. You say, Eve, you can't do that. You have to leverage other people. Ever since I put that system, I'm happy.
Yes.
I'm doing well.
You're less stressed, right?
Less stress because the thing is, I travel a lot. I know 21 states through my business getting training. It's because when I go travel, I don't have to worry about anything behind. And my team will handle everything for me. And
you're at peace, right?
Yes. I just coming from self-employed, being a business owner. And I always tell people there's a difference between a self-employed, a business owner, a CEO. And my goal is to go.
Well, and for most, unfortunately, for most small business owners, they're workers. Mm-hmm. We talked about that last week.
I remember that.
They're working.
Yeah.
They're not managing the business. Mm-hmm. They're employees. And you cannot. The mindset have to change if you want to grow to the next level of revenue. Mm-hmm. You have to change the mindset. You have to become somebody else.
That's true. The mindset has to change.
Yeah, because if you remain the same individual, then you're going to get the same results.
Technology change. When it used to be working capital, right now is human capital. Expert, not knowledge people has. The knowledge you share with me is
with AI coming up as a big component into the marketplace. A lot of small businesses have leveraging it. Mm-hmm. If you're not leveraging it for your business, you might be left behind. There are a lot of tools, a lot of things that are coming technologically. If you're not implementing in your business, not taking it's and those are the things that when we talk to small business owners, they
leverage your system.
You got to, you have to, because otherwise you're not gonna be competitive, mm-hmm. and it's gonna make it difficult for you to compete with other people, mm-hmm. and you're just not gonna have the results that you need.
Let me ask you a question, Uber. I remember years ago, you said to me, not everybody that asks money, you have to give them money to help them to get access with capital. I remember you said that. And I kind of wasn't too happy when you say that. I said, what do you mean by that?
You reflected a lot on the things.
Because, I'm glad I talked my experience. and the show because I've been through a lot as a small business owner because I want small business owners to understand that. I remember when I was getting my master's,
Yeah.
and my master was so easy because what I go through
Yeah.
in my business, my master's was easy for me
Yeah.
to get a master in business management because all my experience I go through. But that was very important and a very good point when you say that it's not everybody asks for want access capital you can give it to them. I remember what you said. I trying to explain that to my client when they come to Lake Capital. And right now I received one of the texts from a client say, Eve, I'm messed up. I cannot pay my bill. And I said, do you remember I was telling you, there's certain things you cannot, not everything you want. This is where the CFO is very, very important in the business.
Yeah. I've had to say no to a lot of people, clients. And because I can foresee, based on what they've done, what's going to happen in the future. Because behaviors tend to continue.
That's true.
Because what somebody has done in the past, even if they tell me, oh, well, no, I don't believe that.
It's your behavior.
The behavior did not change. All of a sudden now, what's going to make it change? Because if you don't show past experience of how to deal with certain things, it's very hard to convince me as a long-time financier, from a guy who worked 20 years in the financial industry, for you to convince me otherwise, because it's not feelings-based. And this
I like when you say it's not feeling based.
it's not, but I remember.
Does that mean you don't have no pity for other people?
No, it's because, I remember a lot of times we used to butt heads a lot.
Of course.
I remember I used to have a lot of tough conversations with you.
Yes.
And you always challenge me like, man, no. And because you're like, I don't believe what you're saying.
Of course.
Because
I'm different.
Because it was feelings based.
Yes. Yeah. You have to understand, feelings can be a good thing too, it can be a bad thing too, because you have to understand, somebody that been in the business understand what the pen too. Go ahead.
No, I understand. But a lot of time when someone comes to me and they say, well, I want to get a line of credit, I want to get this, I want to get that. And then I said, okay, well, what are the reasons why you need this? Because I had a guy recently that came to me and he says he wants to get access to capital. And I said, what is it for? Well, I'm behind my bills. I like to, catch up on the bills, and then, and I feel like that's going to help me, And I said, I don't think so.
That's the mistake the community make.
I don't think
When
so.
in the bottom, that's why they go get money. They should get money while they have money, correct?
Of course.
I like
that's the thing, because now you're behind on bills and you want to get access to capital to pay bills. Guess what that's going to do? That's going to compound, because the bills are going to continue. They're consistent. The issue you're having is you're not generating enough money to support what you're asking.
Yes.
Because you cannot credit your way through your lifestyle. And that's the challenge a lot of people don't understand. When I advise clients, I said, well, you want to borrow money to pay bills? That's not what it's for.
Wow, that's very important. Say it again, Obed.
You don't borrow money to pay bills.
Wow. What do you borrow money for?
You borrow money for investments.
I like that. To make it.
To make more money.
Wow.
Because when you borrow money, they're charging you an interest. Unless you're making over that interest, there's no reason to borrow that money.
Right now, you remind me in the Bible right now. When Jesus came back, he gave it 3 talents. And the other one did not get any talent. Jesus said, lazy. You didn't get nothing from me? That's what you tried to tell me. That means the money you borrow, you have to accumulate it, make it work for yourself.
Yeah, because
I love that.
otherwise, what's the point of borrowing money? Because the only time, and banks, we want to invest into business. Mm-hmm. We don't want to pay your bills for you. If you come to a bank and say, well, I just want to pay my bills. Yeah, that's not, we're not in that business. We want you to say, man, I got a great investment opportunity. This thing is working so much. I want to put another office. I want to hire more people because I got so much jobs. Wow. I'll need money to support those jobs that I have, because I'm going to make way more money. Now I'm going to be able to pay you back. I'm going to make way more money on that.
The mindset needs to be changing. That's what you tell me.
Of course. If you're not making money, please do not borrow money.
Wow.
You only borrow money when you're making money.
If you're not making money, do not borrow money. Wow. You know, even Solomon talk about it in the Bible.
If you're not making money, there's no reason for you to borrow money.
That's true.
Then you get yourself in more trouble.
That means our community, they do not know about financial a lot. They're behind. Is that what?
Yeah, most people, most people don't understand that concept. Like, I know people who they bank with, banks for a long time, and they say, oh, I went to the bank, I asked them for a credit card loan, they denied me, and I'm upset with the bank. I don't know. They get all emotional. Even people who you would think like, they have businesses and they get emotional. They're like, well, I'm gonna close this bank because I asked them for money, they denied me, as if it's a personal thing.
It's not personal.
No, the bank wants to make money.
Yes.
But you don't show the bank an ability to make money. Why would they invest in you?
That's true, because I remember you were talking about it. There's a lot of people, I think we're going to have to come with a show about it. Business owners, they're making money. They're not showing they're making money. That's another show you need to come. We're not diving to that. But
but
when you're talking about that, that remind me.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
The topic of the show is capital access, how to do this.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things not to do if you want to get access to capital. And it's from a lack of knowledge, really, because most people are not investing in themselves like you are. You've been to 21 states, all to educate yourself, to gain more knowledge, to be able to most people are not doing that.
Yes.
They're not investing in themselves
Yes.
to learn more about the financial world. How do they get,
It is. There's a lot out there, bro.
So all they concentrate is, okay, well, I sell this, I'm going to sell, but there's a whole lot of other stuff that comes to it. And to get access to capital, like you're saying, it's from bad advice from accountants, CPA, or whoever. They're not getting right advice. And most people just want to save money on taxes. They don't want to pay those taxes. No one wants to pay taxes. But the system is set up where
We should pay tax.
you ought to pay taxes.
Yes.
But, avoiding is no good. But, but you should, don't evade. But avoiding is a good thing.
Oh, but let me ask you
know?
a question. Small business not making $300,000 a year. Should that small business owner go out there, borrow, and then make $150,000 or $100,000? Or how much that person would be qualified? Or do they need to call you?
Well, typically, it depends,
Okay.
right? Because, it depends whether or not we're talking about a secured
Okay.
access or unsecured.
That's another show we need to
So
cover.
there are different types of, facilities people can borrow from a bank, either, for real estate, for working capital. It depends.
It depends.
But if we're talking about unsecuredly, typically most banks will do 10% of whatever the revenues of that business is.
Okay, 10%. Okay.
Up to, at some point,
The tie.
huh?
The Bible said to give 10% of the tie. Is that what they
Well,
get?
that's another topic we can talk about.
That's a 10% tie.
You're talking about the Bible, that's something else. But well, no, it's an investment.
Yeah, I got you.
Up to a lot of places they like to keep it at 50,000 investment into business. Some banks they like to do 100,000 unsecured investments. Otherwise, they're going to need some collateral assets. But
I know you're watching this show right now. I want you to know Obed has over 20 years experience in financial industry. He has his own accounting firm helping small business. And I can tell you one thing, since 2003 I know him. He helped me a lot. Things I did not know about banking, things I did not know about financials. He's the one that helped me hold my hand. And through the knowledge I gained from him, I travel a lot. What he said to us, I can be butt-head with him. But one thing I want to tell you that accounting, a CFO is very important. If you were looking for a best CFO in town right now, choose Obed. Choose Saget Association. Why? Experiences matters. He's not going to come to tell you about the books only. He's going to tell you what he does. He managed over 500 businesses. He knows what's going on. I myself, what I do, I lend people money.
yeah.
And I always bring him coming to talk to us, what we need to know, what we need to understand about access with capital. One thing I know, not everybody asking you money, you have to give it to them. Not everybody asking you money, you have to lend them money. even is your family, even is your friend. And I'll bring you a story. I'll tell you a story what happened to me one time. I went to Obed asking for money for something. He said, I'm gonna penalize you. I'm gonna teach you a lesson. I'm not let you borrow the money because I wanna get interest. I didn't take it personal. I'm teaching you you need to keep your credit strong. If you need money, you should keep your credit, go to the bank will give you money. And I remember that was a great lesson I learned. And the lesson I learned, he showed me my financial was very wrong. And I sure I'm not making money. And I was making money. He said, how did you live? You create poverty in the system, Eve. Show you make money, the bank will lend you money. If you don't show you making money, the bank will not let you money. Today I'm here. I'm enjoying the wealth right now. The knowledge he give it to me, the knowledge also I gain. And I say, thank you, God. And I say, thank you, Obed.
Well, and I appreciate that story because I remember it vividly. And we sat in your office and you complaining about you want this, you want this, you want this. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go to this guy's office. I'm gonna just, you know. And I said, bring your taxes. Let me take a look at it because you've been complaining about all this stuff. I want to see it. And I remember, and that's something I do with a lot of clients. I hold a mirror to their face to make them see why they put themselves in positions not to grow because it's a
mindset.
It's a mindset. And I remember it was a very low number you reported on the taxes.
We're not going to tell the numbers.
Yeah, there's very low number.
Yeah, I know.
And I remember I said, okay, well, this is okay. This is what it is. And I said, how much is your rent or your mortgage? You like this? I'm like, how's your car? This. How's this? I said, okay. So you spent. So you mean to tell me your monthly expense is $5,000? Just to say, I don't remember what it was, but your income is only $2,000. How does that make sense?
Does it make sense?
And
I felt.
And I remember he was like, you had the light bulb hit you, right?
Yeah.
And I said, so why would I want to let you borrow money?
There's no way. There's no way a bank will give you money. You say that.
Well, anybody.
Anybody.
If I'm smart with my money because I work hard for my money, why would I, just because Eve's a nice guy?
I'm your friend.
He's a friend of mine.
You have to let me borrow money.
And I have to let him borrow money. No, you're not smart. I'm not going to give you my money to do smart
decision.
No. But if you show me you smart with money, I'm more confident to lend you money because I know not I'm going to get it back, but I'm going to get something in return for it. I'm not going to lose my money.
This is where you talk about the behavior in the beginning.
Of course.
The behavior, the pattern that's going on right now. If I was having a good behavior, I shouldn't be in that situation. I should go to the bank, grab, the bank will lend me money.
Of course.
Because what I do, I practicing a behavior was not good. And the culture have that problem. Yes. And we're going to talk about it one day.
Yeah, of course. And it's for a lack of education, lack of understanding, you know. And I know we've been doing the show, but one of the key things I always tell clients, if they want to be able to leverage and get access to funding for their business, to grow their business, one, you have to have good accounting.
Yes.
It's
Number
not.
one.
It's not it's not optional. It's not whether you want to do it or not. You have to.
Even the government talk about it. You have to have a good books.
Yeah, you have to use, not by hand. You have, use the software. There are a lot of them out there, FreshBooks, QuickBooks, Sage, whatever. There are a lot of software, small, whatever. There's a package for every level of business, right? Keep good records for your accounting, and you stay up to date with your accounting because it'll let you know what your numbers are. And it helps, your tax preparer, whoever's doing it make a lot of changes for you. Not only you understand your numbers, but you see where you are daily, monthly, yearly, so that way you can make strategic, adjustments, changes to your business. But a lot of time I ask people, I said, well, who's handling your books? Oh, I don't have. I just bring 12 months of bank statements to my CPA and they do my tax at the end of the year. No, that's not going to work because you have no information. And I'll ask a business owner, I'm like, what were your revenues last year? I don't know. How do you not know what your revenues were last year or this year? So
It's a lot. It's a lot, Obed.
it's a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. I really appreciate access to capital is very important to small business. They need to understand how important it is. Like I said in the beginning, we all need blood in our body in order for us to move forward. Access capital is money. You need money for the business to be operate, the business to be function. Remember, choose someone that can help you. Obed is the expert. Obed, I want to say thank you for the show. I'll see you.
No, it's great. I mean, I don't think we never have enough time to discuss these things because they're very important. We want to help people.
We're gonna
in the
get it
community.
piece by piece, Obed.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I want it to be piece by piece because knowledge, you always have to continue with knowledge.
Yeah.
Because even the Bible says seek knowledge. It did not say seek for money. A lot of people misunderstood the seeking knowledge and seeking money because when you're over here, that's a lot of knowledge. You bring it to
Well,
the-
it's sharing information that
Yeah.
I've gathered over a long period of time, and if you could tell someone or share information with someone that could change their life, that's worth it. And that's what we're trying to do. So, and we don't know it all, but what we know, we may be able to help someone. So appreciate the time.
Thank you
And,
so
hopefully
much.
we'll get next year.
And I want to say thank you on behalf of Change Our Community because Change Our Community is a nonprofit organization that bringing expert people like you to come to talk about, let people know about literacy is very important for small business. I believe every small business need help.
Yeah.
They need somebody that can hold their hand to become successful.
Talking about, I think Change Marketing should put a seminar one day
We are paying to
for small business, just so we could do a panel and
yeah.
discuss. That might be a good idea.
Martin is working on it with Julie, and they don't want to uncharge that department right now. And they're planning to do a different program and under Change Our Community when small business to come to ask questions in the panel. Because the thing is, the small business, they're dying, man. They're dying. They need help.
Yeah.
They
Well,
need help.
hopefully we'll look forward to that, and we'll catch up next week.
Remember, the show is access to capital is very, very important. If you need money, please call Lake Capital. If you need help with financial, your books, your CFO, your tax return, whatever financials you need to make sure your book is correct, get Saget Association because Obed is always here to help you guys. Stay tuned. I'll see you next week.